Hello futuristic developers. Welcome to another React.js tutorial. Today we are going to build the best real estate website you can currently find on YouTube in terms of design, responsiveness, code style and many more. And if this tutorial gets enough number of requests, then I would make a full stack tutorial, means we will include the backend as well. So let me know down in the comments. Let's see what we are going to learn throughout this tutorial. So first we will get to know how we can build a project from scratch like this. We will also enhance our CSS skills by writing pure CSS. You would get to know how you can make the responsive designs that look equally good on the tablet, mobile and desktop screens. On next, we will learn how to manage the states and hooks in React. We will also make a React carousel by using the Swiper.js, the famous library. And then we will use the framer motion for a little bit of animation in our hero section. At the last, here comes the most important part, deployment. We will get to know how we can deploy our such kind of front-end projects so you can show off them to your potential clients, your friends and anyone you want. So without taking more time, let's start building this website. But until I roll the intro, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It would encourage me to make more content for you guys. So make sure you hit those buttons. Let's get started. So first thing first, let's see what are the requirements for making this project. The very first thing you have to do is to install a stable version of Node.js in your machine. So here I have written very simple query Node.js download, and on the very first link, here you can download the Windows version of Node.js if you are on Windows. Otherwise on the macOS you can try this one, and on the Linux you can download this one. As I am on the Windows, so I would simply install this one. By clicking on this, the installation would start. But as I have already installed this, so I am just cancelling this. By the way, on your side, if you have not already installed, then you should install from this setup. It's very simple, like the next and install. Now to confirm the installation, here I would go to my PowerShell. Okay, inside the PowerShell, here I am writing a command. Node -v means what's the version of installed Node.js, and it is saying 18.14.0 means the node installed correctly. Now the next thing you have to install is the yarn package manager. You can install by writing npm then I and -g for the global installation flag and write yarn. It would install the yarn package manager globally on your machine. Okay, as it is already installed, so it did not take so much time on my side, but on your machine for the first time it could take around 1 minute, or maybe less, depends on your internet connection. Okay, now let's close this, and here I am in a blank VS Code directory. Now I am not going to do the traditional npm create React app because it would take a lot of time, and I don't want you people to spend so much time just deleting the default settings that come up with the create React app. So instead of this, what I am going to do, here I have made a GitHub repository with the name of real estate web starter pack. Currently it's private, but at the time of publishing this video I would make it as public. So what you have to do, you just have to copy this URL and then in the terminal write git clone, paste the URL and then full stop and backslash, hit the enter buttons. The full stop with the backslash would clone this repository directly in this folder. So when I hit the enter button, okay, it's cloning here, and it won't take so much time. Yeah, so here the step of cloning is successfully completed. Let's close the terminal by pressing Ctrl+J, and here what comes here just the very basic structure of a React app. But while explaining the starter pack, I would like to start the installation. So here I just simply write yarn, and what it will do, it will install all the required packages which are required to complete this tutorial at once. So when I hit the enter button after writing the yarn, what it is doing, it is reading the package.json, and here I have specified all the required dependencies that are necessary for making this video, and all of these dependencies are installed at once, so we would not have to install again and again. Okay, so now let's explain what is this starter pack. In the starter pack, the first thing you get is the index.html, which is the very basic structure of any website, having the title of real estate and the basic boilerplate, nothing special. And then inside the app.jsx, we are having a very basic React component, which is only saying subscribe ZAINKEEPSCODE, and yeah, you definitely do this. Now on the next, we have index.css. In the index.css, what I did, I have defined some variables which are mostly the colors, because by doing so we would not have to write the colors code manually, so it would be faster in the tutorial. And here again, it's a gradient color and it's the shadow of a div, nothing so much. And then this is a very margin 0, padding 0, the basic setup of a page. And similarly, all of these properties I would explain you when we are going to use them in the video. So nothing of them is so much complicated, as you can have an idea. This is just a flex and setting of any div, and similarly all other properties. Now the next step, how we have to start this project. Again, open the terminal by pressing Ctrl+J, and in the terminal, first I am going to clear my terminal, and here write yarn run dev and hit the enter button. So now it is running our Vite server, and here it is saying localhost 5173 port. You see how fast that was, because we are using Vite for this project, which is very you can say much faster than the create React app. So just control and click on this URL, and here our project is successfully running, as it is saying subscribe ZAINKEEPSCODE. If I zoom, and this is the same thing that I had written in my app.jsx. If I visit my app.jsx, here it is saying subscribe ZAINKEEPSCODE. Okay, the only thing that remained is the utils folder. Inside the utils folder, I have first of all slider.json. As you remember, when I gave the demo of our completed website, there was a carousel. So the data for that carousel is here. It's just simply an array of objects. I would explain it when we are going to use this. And similarly, this is the accordion data, as we are also making an accordion in our website, so it's just simply a starter data. With that being said, let's actually start our tutorial. Let's actually start coding now. Here is the deployed version of our website, and when I look at this website, the first thing that comes in my mind is the font family. So I have to import this font family from the Google Fonts. So I'm going to the Google Fonts, and here I would search for a font whose name is Poppins. So it is basically a very famous font, and here in the Poppins family, okay, I would take it some variants. The first variant should be the 400, regular 400, and then the 500, the 600, and I would also like to take the 700. Okay, so here it has made some code for me. I just have to copy all of this code, and in my index.html, after this meta tag in my index.html, I am pasting this code that is generated by Google Fonts. It's just a link for these fonts. Let's save this. Okay, so now if I again visit the Google Font, here you can see at the end it is saying to use this font you have to specify this CSS rule. The font family equals to Poppins, otherwise sans serif. So it is already enabled, as if I go to index.css, which comes with the starter pack, for all of the divs I have specified font family Poppins already. So you won't have to do this step, but if you are making an other project from the very scratch, then you have to specify this one. Okay, So now yeah, I am saving this and let's see at the results. This is our under development version. If I see this now, the font is enabled as, yeah, this font is exactly same as it is. Okay, now start making the components in our website. So I am closing the Google Fonts, this URL, and there are only two tabs, the under development and the developed version. Cool. So let's close the index.html, and the first step is the app.jsx. Here I am removing this. I am making a div with the class name of app, and here I would say simply app, let's say, and in the src I am making a new folder with the name of components. In the components I am again making a new folder with the name of hero section. So inside the hero, I am making a file with the name of hero.jsx and another file with the name of hero.css. Yes, you are predicting rightly. In one file we are only going to write only the CSS, while in the second one we are going to write the JSX component. But as there is a hero section, so similarly we would also have to make an other folder for the header section. So inside the header again make two files, header.jsx and header.css. Okay, so we are going to start from the very beginning from the header. So in the header.jsx write RAFCE for the React fat arrow function, and it's a shortcut that you can make enable by installing an extension, and extension name is ES6. So yeah, by installing this extension you can also enable these type of shortcuts, short snippets. So okay, now let's save this one, and inside the app.jsx, and here instead of simply saying this app, I'm going to import the header. So import header. By the way, it's also giving me art suggestion, so I can use it, but for the first component I am doing it manually. So from the components go to the header folder, and yeah, import this header.jsx. Now I can write this component like this. Let's save this and see the results in browser. Now it is saying header means the component is imported successfully. Here I am removing this pre-built div, and first of all make a section, and for this section I am giving it a class name of header wrapper, means the h wrapper. Inside this I am making a div with the class name of h container, means the header container, and then the first thing should be the logo. So I am writing the image. By the way, one thing that I forgot to explain, that inside our directory, inside the public folder, I have pasted all the images that are required for this tutorial. They come by default with the starter pack. So when you are cloning the starter pack, it means you are also cloning these images. So from these images, now I am going to use this logo.png. Okay, so you can easily access by just writing a dot and then backslash logo.png, and for its alt I am going to say it as logo, and I would give it a width of 100 pixel. Let's make text a little bit small. Okay, like this. Now after the logo, the second thing should be the menu, like where we are seeing residencies or values, like those things. So for that I am saying header menu. Inside the header menu I would make the 5 links, so a multiply by 5, and let's format this by pressing shift alt f. Okay, there is some kind of mistake. Yeah, now it's good. Okay, by the way, for the href attribute I would specify them at the end of the tutorial. For now I am just giving them some headings, like the first one should be the residencies, then the second one should be our value. Similarly, the third one is contact us, and then get started. So here I can write the get started, and at the last we should have a button of saying contact. So instead of just simply saying it is a, I would enclose it inside a button tag. Okay, so let's format it again by Shift Alt F, and then for this one I'm giving it a class name of button. Let's save this. Now why I'm doing this, yeah, here you can see I should make it to 100%, but it would be so small. Yeah, here is our total menu, there is our logo, and there is the button. If I go to the developed version, here you can see these are the menu icon, these are the menu items, this is the button of contact, and this is the logo. So we have to give structure like this. For making a structure like this, what I have to do, first I have to make this container as a flexbox. In the developed version, all of these items means in the developed version, all of these things are aligned on the center and are aligned with the specific gap between the menu items. So there is a very particular alignment. To achieve that, I have to make the header as a flexbox. So how can I do this? The first thing is I can do this by writing in the header CSS that there is the header container, make it display flex, line item center, and then justify content center. But if I do it again and again for many divs, then it would not make a good impact. So instead of doing this, I can use my index.css. By the way, I forgot, here we should also import the CSS by saying in the relative folder import the header.css. Okay, let's save this. I am removing this one for now. And what could I do here? I'm going to index.css, opening it here, and yeah, here if you see, I have made some classes. The first one is flex center. Whenever you would specify the flex center, what it would do, it would make the display flex with the row gap of 2 rem, content center, item center, and the flex wrap as wrap. So I'm going to use this class here on my container. I would simply say flex center, and then the second thing I could say is as the paddings. So what is the paddings? Similarly, as we have the flex center, we are also having the paddings class, as I want that the padding between all sections should be consistent. So I'm just going to use this padding everywhere in my website, so it won't be inconsistent. Our website would be particularly aligned. Okay, and then the last thing is I would want to specify is the inner width. So let's see what is the inner width. Inner width is the width 100% on the normal screen sizes, but when it goes to the very huge screens like the more than 1500 pixels, then it is saying the inner width should be maximum of 1280 pixels and the margin auto. And similar case is for the paddings. Okay, so let's focus on the inner width right now. As you know, the current screen has a huge width on which we are currently seeing the tutorial. So our website is aligned and consistent between the screen, means in the very center of screen. It is not spanning towards the end of the screens. Like if I am on a small screen, then it is automatically adjusting its size to the end of the screens. But when I'm on a very large width, then it is in the center of screen for making its design consistency. So for achieving this effect, what I did, I have used this inner width. So it would take control of the width. I have specified it here. Now let's save this. Also, I'm going to header.css and I am targeting h wrapper. For its background color, I would like to use our variable black one, like this one. Okay, yeah, let's save this. Let's save this and see here. Here you can see it is consistent, and we are not able to see anything right now, but we can fix this by writing very simple thing that the color of the text should be white inside the header. So now, yeah, everything is visible. Okay, the second thing I would want to do here for the H menu, as it is the line item and justify center, so there is no gap between the items, but we want the gap, sorry, not the menu but the container. My bad. Okay, for the container I would say justify content space between. Let's save, and yeah, now they are at the end of the screens, and this time is to do some paddings more. So I would say padding top should be 1 rem with the padding bottom of 1 rem. It would increase the padding. And then I would say the color of anything inside this container should be our variable secondary color. Let's save this. And yeah, now you can see now the opacity of color is a little bit lower than the white color, so it is our secondary variable here. Okay, the next thing I would do is to target our H menu, and for this menu I am saying the gap between the items should be 2 rem, and whenever we are going to hover at anything inside this menu, means when we are going to hover at any a tag, so here I can specify like this, then I would want to make cursor as the pointer. Let's save this and see here. Okay, I think the gap is not applied, and let's see why. Okay, the H menu is here, the H menu, yeah, the gap is not applied because on the H menu we have not made it as select center. Let's save this and that's it. Yeah, now the last thing is to style over this button of contact. So how can I style this button? So as you can see in the developed version, we are using the button many times. First we are using button here, then we are using the button here, then we are using the button here, and then we are also using the buttons here. So instead of writing the CSS for the button specifically only for the header, I would like to write the CSS of this button for the complete website. So for writing the button for the complete website inside the index.css, after this, means on the top of the media queries, here I am making a class of button, as I have given the class name of button here. So it would take the styling from the index.css. For this one, I would say font weight of 500 with the padding of 0.6 rem and 1.4 rem. 1.4 rem from left and right and 0.6 from top and bottom. After this, the color of text within this one should be the white with the background color, not the background color, but here we would take the background. So background is our gradient, which is blue gradient. Yeah, after this one I would say the border should be none with the border radius of 4 pixels, and then I am applying a transition property because we are scaling the button upward on hovering. So for giving the smooth effect on hovering, I am saying all 300 ms ease in. It would produce a smooth easing effect when we are going to hover and the button is scaling. So for that scaling up effect, I am going to say the button on hovering should be, cursor should be the pointer, and it should be transformed to scale up to 1.1%. Let's save this. Now let's see in the under development. Yeah, our button is exactly like what we like to have. This is the developed version and this is our website. So our header for the desktop version is completed. Now we would move towards this hero section, and then we would see how we can make this blur effect and how all these things are working. Let's see. I am making this side a little bit smaller, and in the hero.jsx again write RAFCE. Okay, now remove this and here write section dot. Again here I can write it as hero wrapper. I am not saying it as only H wrapper because I have already used H wrapper here in the header. So I would say it as a hero wrapper. Now inside this, what I would like to have is first of all the paddings, then the inner width. After this I would say it as the hero container. Yeah, and I think that's enough, but it would be better if I could also make it as flex center. I think as we also have to modify the hero container, so it would be better if we write the flex center behind the hero container so that the hero container can override the properties of flex center if we need. Okay, now let's have a look at the developed version. In the developed version, we can easily identify that there are two parts of the hero section. The first one, the left, and then the right one. In the right we are simply having an image, while on the left we are having many things like the title, then description, a search box, and these numbers that are actually moving. If I refresh, here you can see these numbers are actually moving. So to make this effect we would again use a library, but for now our focus is on this right side. Okay, so what I would do here in this, first I would say as hero left, and inside this I am just saying left section, and then I am also making a div for this one. I am saying as hero right. Okay, now let's see what could we do in the hero right. First of all, for this I would make it as flex center, so everything would be align item center and justify content center by default. And then I'm making a div for which I am giving a class name of image container. Now inside the image container I would need an image, so for that image I would say hero image.png, that I am again having inside the public folder here, hero image.png. By the way, just have a look, so it is a scare image, and if we have a look at developed version, it is having the border as rounded. So let's see how we can make this. Now it's time to make the CSS. So inside the hero.css here, I am targeting the hero wrapper, the most parent class first. For this one I am making the color as white, and then I am making the position as relative with the padding bottom of 2 rem. Now let's move to the hero container. So for the hero container I would say justify content space between, because if you look here the content is separated on the sides of screen, so therefore we have to make it as justify content space between. Then the align items flex send. Let's save this. Now I am making a comment, and inside the comment I am saying the right side. I am directly targeting the image container here and making the width of this container as 30 rem with the height of 35 rem. The overflow should be hidden because as we know the image is square, but the container should be rounded from the top corners, so we have to make the overflow hidden. After this, the border radius is the most interesting thing because the 15 rem for the top right, 15 rem for the left right, and then 0 and 0 for the bottom corners. Now the border should be 8 pixels solid, and then I am giving it a manual value, and the value is 255 255 255 with the opacity of I think 0.112. Yeah, let's adjust the sizes. Okay, let's save this and see the results. Okay, I forgot to import the hero section inside our app.jsx, which is the most important thing to see the results. Again, go to app.jsx, and after the header I would write hero, and it is giving me auto suggestion, so I am just clicking on this and it is auto imported on the top. By the way, if auto importing is not working on your machine, then just simply write this manually. Okay, and close this component. Let's save this and now expect the results. Okay, I think there is something missing, and I am already predicting that I forgot to import the hero CSS. Now it should be better. Yeah, I am clearly having a container which is having the corners as we want, but the image is not in the correct position. So let's see what can we do for this image. Here I am writing a style that inside the image container I am having an image. As you can see, this is the image container, and here I am having the image. So I'm targeting this image, making the width 100% and the height 100% of the parent container. Now it should work. Yeah, now this is exactly what we want. But again, the very important thing that we are missing is the background color of our hero section. So here I would say the background color is our variable black. Let's save this. Now we can see this is the left section and the right section is ready according to the developed thing. Okay, so now let's move towards the left section and see how we can make contents here. It would be better if I make a comment here and say it as the right side. Let's format the code by Shift Alt F. By the way, for the formatting of the code, I am using a very popular extension with the name of Prettier. Okay, I think my internet connection is lost. So by the way, the name of extension is Prettier. You can easily find it in the marketplace in the extensions in your inbuilt VS Code market section. Okay, similarly, I am also making the comment for the left side. So left side like this. Now instead of just simply saying the left side, the first thing we have to make is the title on the left. So I would say hero title, and inside the hero title I am simply making an h1 heading. Inside the h1 heading I am giving what we have. Let's just copy and paste so there won't be a mistake. Discover most suitable property. So just copy and paste it here, format the code again, and after the discover I would like to have a line break, and then similarly after the most suitable I would again have a line break. Let's format the code again by Shift Alt F. Okay, let's save this and see in the development version. Okay, here we have this. The next thing is to have the description like we have this one. So for making this description after the hero title, I am making the hero description, and for this description I would make the two spans, and inside these spans I am simply copy and pasting some text that you can also do from this video. Okay, this is the first text, and then this one is the second text. Okay, so these are the two texts that I have written, and now let's see in the developed version. The third thing is to have this input bar. So for now I am just saying it as search bar, and here I am saying search bar. We would make it on the letter, and let's see what are the results. This is the result that I am saying here. As we know that the right side of our hero section has moved down, so we have to figure out why this happened, because here I have made two spans and the width of span has become so much large. So to accommodate the space, the right side has moved towards the downside. So how can I fix this? Okay, in the code, what if I make this description as flex call and then start, means the flex with the direction of column and the justify content at center. If I move towards index.css and let's see, yeah, here is the flex call sent. Here the flex call start means the display flex direction column justify content center and align item start. So for my mistake, not the justify content start but the line items at the start. So now if I save this, okay, so yeah, here you can see the hero section is again in the alignment. But what if I make this hero left also the flex call start? Okay, because I want all the items in the column direction with the display flex and the line items at the start. So I am simply writing it like this. Now for this title I have to do some manual CSS. So on the top of this right side here, now I am saying the left side, and for this left side I am writing the hero left. For first thing I am making the gap of 3 rem between all the elements. Now I am targeting the title, and for the title I am making the position relative with the z index of 1. Why I am doing so? Because if I have a look at the developed version, you can see I have a orange div, means the orange circle in the background of the title. So I'm going to make this position absolute relative to this title. Therefore I have declared the position as relative for the hero title, but we would see later how we are going to make this circle. First let's style the title, means the h1 heading. So in the hero title I have an h1 heading. For that, make the font weight of 600 with the font size of 3.8 rem and the line height of 4 rem. Let's save this and let's see. Okay, yeah, we are achieving what we require. And now I'm going to make that orange circle. So here I'm making a div, giving it a class name of orange circle, and let's make it self-closing div like this. Okay, now I'm going to style this. So for the orange circle like this, make the height of 4 rem, width of 4 rem. Let's make the font bigger, yeah, like this. And then I'm giving it a background. So for the background, again I am using my variable with the orange gradient like this, with the border radius of 999 pixel. You can also use the 100%. So the position absolute, let's save this. And I think it's not applied. Let's see. Okay, here is the orange circle. Is there anything that I have missed here? Yeah, the spelling is not correct. Here I have to make the R, and now here I am having this circle. Okay, so yeah, the alignment is not correct for position. For making the position correct, I am giving the right as 28%, and then with the top of I think minus 10%. Let's save this and see. Okay, now it's in correct position, but still there is something wrong with the index. So I am giving it a z index of -1 here, and for my title I have given the z index of 1. So now it should be behind the title. Yeah, now our title is in the most correct form as we have here. So similarly we are having here. Within this search bar, the first thing that we want is a location icon. So here I am importing the HI location marker from the React icons. I have to import it manually, and then I am giving it a color of our variable blue. Yes, we can use our CSS variable inside our JSX, and then I am giving it a size of 25 pixels. Now as I have to import this, so just copy this name, and on the very top I would write import this icon from React icons and from the HI directory. Let's save this and see. Yeah, the icon is successfully imported. If I have a look at the developed version, I have an icon, then I am having an input, and then I am having this button. So let's complete all these requirements. The icon is imported. The second thing should be the input, yeah, with the type text, and now I am making a button with the class name of button, and inside this I am just simply saying search. Let's see our version. Here I have, it's time to style the search bar. Okay, so after this orange circle, here I am saying our search bar. Let's make it bigger like this. For the search bar, again I am having the background color as white with the border radius of 5 pixel, and now I am giving it a border of 3 pixel solid with a custom color. So I am giving it a value of 120 with the opacity of 0.374, and after this make the padding 0.5 rem from the top and bottom and 1 rem from left and right with the justify content space between. Let's save this and see here. Yeah, now I have to fix this input bar. So for fixing this input bar, here I would say inside the search bar I have an input. For that one, make the border none and also the outline none. Let's save this. Yeah, now it's looking good, but what I am feeling that there is something missing, which is the alignment of this search bar. So for the alignment of this search bar, here in the class name I would give it flex center. Let's save this, and yeah, now the alignment is also perfect, but still I'm having some issue with the width of this input bar. So what I would do here for this search bar, I would say width as 100%. Let's save, and yeah, now it's looking perfect. The next thing is to make the counting up numbers. So for those counting up numbers, this is our search bar. I am minimizing this. I am minimizing this description here, and yeah, after the search bar we are good to go with the stats, means those numbers. So here I am making a div with the flex center and giving the name of stats for this div. As we know, there would be three stats. If we have a look at the developed version, the first stat is the number of premium products, then the happy customers, and finally the award winning. So there are three stats. Let's focus on the very first stat for now. So for the first stat, I would use the class name of flex call start and giving this div the name of stat. Inside this I would make the two spans. So within the second span I am simply having the name of stat, which is the premium products, and in the first span I would use the countup library, which we have installed at the start of tutorial. Actually it is automatically installed when we were installing all the dependencies. Okay, so for the countup numbers, here it takes two parameters. The first parameter is the start, and then the second parameter is the end. So for the end I would say as 9,000. So I am saying start the counting from 88,000 and take it up to the 90,000. I think I have made it so much large. It is 8800 and 9,000. Sorry. Yeah, this is the correct one. Now what should be the duration of this animation? I am saying the duration should be only 4 seconds. After this counting up number, I would also like to have a plus icon in front of these numbers. So let's save this. Of course we have to import this count up. So on the very top, count up, count up, and not from this, it's wrong auto suggestion. There should be simply react count up, yeah, like this one. Let's save this and see the results in the browser here, and yeah, the number is increasing, it's working perfectly. Now if I similarly make two more stats, so this is first stat, I am minimizing this, copying this, and below I am pasting this one. And for the second one I am saying start from 1950 and take it up to the 2000, and again the duration is same, but now here I am saying happy customers, happy customers. Okay, and just minimize it. Similarly again copy this stat div and I am pasting it for the third time, and here I am removing this start parameter and only saying that take it up to the number 28 with the duration. I can also skip the duration here because it's very small counting. Okay, and then here I would like to say award winnings, or simply award winning. Let's save this, and if I refresh my page, here you can see all of these numbers are counting up. It's time to style these divs now. Let's go to our VS Code here inside the CSS, and after this search bar styling, here I am targeting the stats div, making the width as 100% and then the justify content space between. Now inside the stat I have the first child, which is the I think, yeah, the first child is the actually number. So for the numbers I am giving the font size of 2 rem. After this I am saying again go to the stat, go to the nth child, the first child, and inside this go to the last child. So what I am basically targeting here, if I have a look at the JSX, this is the stat. Inside the stat I have this span as the first child, and then this plus one, only the plus is the last child. Okay, so I am ultimately I'm targeting this plus sign here. So what I am saying, for this plus sign, simply make its color as orange. Let's save this. Now see these numbers, they are looking very perfect, but the spacing is something which is not very good. Okay, so let's see what we have messed up here. Where are these spans? Okay, this is the hero description, then search bar. Okay, this is our first stat. Okay, here I would like to give it a class name of secondary text that we have made in our index.css. Here if I have a look at secondary text, it is having the font size of 0.9 rem with this color, a type of gray color with less opacity. Okay, so just copy this class name, and inside the second span again I am using it here, and then for the third one I am using it here. Let's save this. And yeah, still it is having some problem with the alignment of the number and this description. So what could I do more? If instead of having this flex call start, if I use flex call center, then it should fix our problem. Yeah, it is fixing our problem. So I'm copying this, and then here I am pasting this, and on the third one again I am pasting this. Let's save this. Now everything is up to the mark, and our hero section is almost completed, but still this description have to be styled. Okay, if I have a look at a developed version, this is also the secondary text. So let's go to the description. This is our hero description, and for both of these I could say here as secondary text. Just copy this, and for the second span simply paste it. Let's save and have a look here, refresh. Yeah, now everything is looking perfect. The only thing is remaining is to add this white gradient behind the hero section and this header. So let's see how we can do this. For doing this, I am going to my app.jsx, and here I am making a div. Okay, now the header and hero should be enclosed under this div. So why I am doing so? Because if we have a look at the developed version, you can see the blur is the gradient is spanned between the hero section and the header. So we have to make an alignment that is common between the header and between the hero section. For achieving this effect, I am making a div around both of header and hero, and then here I am making a div giving it a class name of white gradient, and then making it a self-closing div. The next thing that can I do, inside the hero.css I am going to very top and removing the background color from here, and similarly for the index.css I am removing the background color for here. Then I'm closing all the things here. Inside the src I'm making a new file with the name of app.css. okay, I'm targeting app as the first, so you can say the most parent element, making the position relative and overflow acts as clip for this. Okay, now what I'm saying inside the app I have its nth child 1. So when I'm saying the first child, it means I'm targeting this div that we have made as a wrapper around the header, hero and this white gradient. Now for this common, I am making the background as our variable black like this, and then again the position relative. Let's see the results of doing this. Okay, so still there are no results because we have not imported the app.css. It's my bad, I always forget to import the css in the relative JSX. So now it should be okay. Yeah, now it's looking same as the previous one. The next thing I have to do, I have to style this white gradient. So here I am writing the white gradient. For this one, make the position absolute with the width of 20 rem, height of 20 rem, and now I am giving it a background color, not the background color but only the background, because these actually the color would also work if it's not a gradient, but mostly I prefer giving the background, not the background color, because I am mostly using the gradients in many of my projects. Okay, then this is the important property of filter with the blur value of 100 pixel. This is the thing that would make it as a gradient. If I uncomment this and see the results here, so here is the result without giving the property of filter. It is looking like this one. And now if I enable this filter property with the blur value of 100 pixels, now it is looking like this. I would also want to give it some border radius. So although it's not making too much difference, but it's always good to give a border radius. Okay, so now it is exactly looking like our developed version. Everything is in its correct position. The next thing we have to do is to enable the logos of different companies. As we have in the developed version, we have the 4 logo. So let's see how we can make such type of logos here in our version. So actually it's very easy to make this inside the components. I am simply making a folder with the name of companies. Inside the companies, make a JSX for this one. So companies.jsx and then a CSS, companies.css, like this. Open them side by side, and inside the JSX write RFCE. Okay, import its CSS here. So import, from the relative companies.css, like this. And now we have to import this companies component inside the app.jsx. So after this div, here I am importing companies. So here it is giving me an auto suggestion. I am accepting this auto suggestion. Let's save this and see the results. Here it is saying companies, means the component is successfully imported. Okay, again go back to the companies, and instead of this default text, I am making a section with the class name of companies wrapper, C wrapper, and then I am making a div giving it default paddings with some inner width like this, and then flex center, and C container means the company's container. Okay, now inside these companies container, I am simply pasting 4 images. You can do this from this video. All of these images again coming from the public folder which is here. So I am importing these 4 images one by one. Let's format the code. Let's save this and see the results. So here these are the 4 logos. Now we have to style this. It's only the container. For the container, make justify content space around. Okay, space around like this with the gap of 1 rem, and then I am again targeting the images inside this container and making the width of each logo as 9 rem. Let's save this, and here we are done. This is the total logo section, means this is the total company's component. It's exactly looking like our developed version. So this is completed. Now let's move towards our next section, which is this carousel. Actually here we have used the Swiper.js for making these custom buttons, for making this custom behavior of the cards that are embedded in the carousel. So this is very interesting component to see that how we can build this. Let's start the building of this component. For making the carousel, let's go to the directory, and inside the components folder, I am making a new folder with the name of Residencies. I am just giving the name on the basis of its heading, and then inside the Residencies, make a new file for its JSX and other one for its CSS. So let me make it quickly here. Okay, let's open them side by side like this, and in the JSX I am writing RFCE for the fat react arrow function, and also I am importing all the required packages here for making the carousel. So here first of all write the Swiper, which is very famous library for making the carousel, and it is the most stable one as far as I use different libraries. And then we have to import it from the Swiper React directory. So we have basically imported 3 classes: Swiper, Swiper Slide, and JuiceSwiper. These are the components from the Swiper React. Okay, now we have to import the CSS for this carousel, which is built in from the library, and you can import it by writing import Swiper/CSS. Now I am importing our own CSS, residencies.css, like this. And then the last thing, we have to import the data for our sliders. So for that, here I am writing import data from go outside, then outside, and then inside the utils I have slider.json. If you remember, the slider.json comes with the starter pack. Here inside the utils I have the slider.json. If I open it, you will see it's a simple array. and it's an array of objects. Let's try to map these objects on our developed version so we can have more understanding about this data. So first of all, we are having the name of the property and then the price. Now let's open our developed version. Here you can see we have the name of property and the price of that property. Then I am having the detail and the image. Image is basically the path where it lies. If I open the public folder, here you can see I have r1.png r2, so I am specifying that path in the image. So similarly, I have the second property 3 4 5 6, and if I have a developed version, here you can see I have 4 5 and 6 properties that are mapped according to this data. So therefore I am importing this data inside my component. And now let's remove this pre-built section and here write the section dot r wrapper, and inside this I'm simply writing residencies like this. Let's save this and try to import it in our app.jsx. In the app.jsx, after companies, here I am writing residencies and it is giving me auto suggestion, which is I am importing. Again, if it is not working on your VS Code, sometime it doesn't work because of some slow machines and maybe other causes. So you can import it manually by writing this line. Okay, let's save this and see our development version. Here comes the residencies, means the component is imported successfully. Now let's get back to the JSX. Remove this dummy text of residencies and I am making a div with the class name of paddings to apply the default paddings with the inner width to make it center on the huge widths, and then the parent name of our container, means the residencies container. The first thing I am going to make is the head. So for the head I am writing our head, and I would also like to give it flex all start to make the headings in the column direction and with the align items at the start. Okay, so why I'm doing so, if I look at the developed version, here you can see in the heading I have two spans, the best choices and the popular residencies. I have made them in a column direction and also to start them from the start of flex. Therefore I have written this class name. Okay, said let's make the two spans inside it. The first span is saying best choices and the second span is saying popular residencies. Okay, let's format the code by pressing Shift Alt F. Let's save this and try to write the CSS for this section. So here I am targeting the R head. Inside this I am only a very simple styling of margin bottom to rem. Let's save this and see the results in the development version. Yeah, here I have the two texts. Let's give these spans some class names to apply some stylings on them. So here I am giving a class name of orange text. If you look at the index.css, here I have a pre-written orange text class which is doing nothing but giving the color of orange and the font size of 1.5 rem with the font weight of 600. Now similarly I am going to give the class name of primary text, which is also a pre-written class in the index.css with this color code, the font weight of bold and the font size of 2 rem. Let's save this and see the results. Yes, both of the spans are styled now. Let's make the carousel. So for making the carousel, after this head, here I am using the swiper component, and inside the swiper component I would map through the data. So to iterate through the data we have imported, I would use the JavaScript. So data dot map, and while mapping I am saying each object in the array as card, I as its index number, and then what it should return, it should return a swiper slide. Yeah, and inside the swiper slide I am making a div with the class name of residency card. Okay, so as we have used the I, and in the JavaScript when you are mapping, so it's important to give a unique key to each children. So here I am giving a key of I as the index number, so it would not raise a warning in the console, which is actually very irritating. Now if I look at the developed version, here the first thing in the card of a residency, we have the image of that residency and then the price. So let's clear these two things first. So inside the card I would say make an image, and for the source of this image use the card.image. As we have in the slider.json, we have the image attribute, so I am using that attribute here, and for salt attribute I am simply giving this home image. Okay, and then to make the price I am making a span with the class name of secondary text and r price. Okay, inside the r price I am making two spans. Now inside the first span simply make the dollar sign, while in the second span use the car.price. Yeah, let's save this and see the results. Now in the development version, here I have the image, here I am having the price of the residency, and they are actually sliding like a carousel. Means our component is working fine. The only thing remaining is to style our cards. For this dollar sign I would like to give it a style of very simple color, make the orange. Let's save this, also format the code. Next thing is to display the name. So for displaying the name I am using the card.name, and also we can use the pre-built class here. So here I am using the primary text. Let's copy and paste this, and for the second one I am using the detail, card.detail, and for this one I am using the secondary text class name. Let's save this and see if everything is rendering. Yeah, everything is rendering. Let's move to the CSS part now. I am targeting the R card, and inside the R card giving the gap of 0.6 rem. As I am giving the gap, so the div should be a display flex. So therefore here in the R card I am giving a pre-built class of flex call start, so that everything would be in the column direction and with the align items at the start of our flex box. Okay, so let's save this, also save the JSX, see the results here. Yeah, now these things are in the column direction. The next thing I would like to give is the padding of 1 rem with the border radius of 10 pixels to the most parent div of the card, with the maximum width is maximum content, and the margin should be auto, so that slides can be aligned center if the screen are relatively small. And the last thing is to apply the transition. So for the transition I am saying on all type of movements make the duration of 300 ms with the type of ease in animation. Let's save this and see. Okay, still now we don't have much to see the changes because we have not directly changed anything inside the card yet. We are just changing the properties of its parent div. Okay, now actually try to target the elements inside the card. So inside the card I am targeting the image. For the image, making the width 100% of the parent div with the maximum width that a card can attain as the 15 rem. Let's save this, and yeah, now it's looking very good. After this I am targeting the second child inside our card. So here I will write the nth child 2, and what is our nth child 2? If I have a look here, the second child is this one, the price div. So for the price div I am saying make the font size of 1.2 rem and a font weight of 600. Let's save this, and yeah, our price is now looking good. Similarly I am going to target the third child inside our R card. So here I am copying and pasting, changing 2 to 3 and making the font size of 1.5 rem. Now similarly target the fourth child. So for the fourth child again copy and paste like this. By the way, third child is this one, the name of our card, and the fourth child is the detail. Okay, so now for the fourth child again I am making the font size of 0.7 rem with the width of 15 rem. Let's save this and see the results. Here we are. If I have a look at the developed version, our card is almost in a perfect shape as we have here. The only thing is remaining to give the hover effect on this card and also make the alignments as the 4 cards on the large width, and then make the number of cards smaller on the small screens, but we would handle it on later. First make the hover effect on these cards, okay, because still now we have no hover effect. So for making the hover effect, here I am targeting again the R card, and I am saying on hover any of it make the scaling about 1.025%, with the cursor as pointer, then the background color. The background color is the most important thing to notice here, as I am to give a linear gradient color here like this one. You can copy and paste by pausing this video, and then I'm giving a box shadow. For the box shadow, you can repeat this step by copy and pasting and pausing this video. I am writing it directly to save the time. So this is our background gradient color and this is our box shadow on hovering the card. Let's save this and see if it is applied or not. Yes, our cards are giving a beautiful hover effect. But there is a problem that I am noticing here. Look at the developed version first. When I am hovering, the shadow behind this card is looking perfect. But on our development version, I am not able to see the shadow. Why I am not able to see the shadow? Because our div is restricting the overflow. This is the class which is built in the swiper and it is restricting our shadow property. So we have to modify a built-in class. So here, after our hover effect, I would say the swiper horizontal container should make the overflow as visible. Let's save this, and now yes, our shadow is visible behind the card. Similarly, you can inspect any other classes in any pre-built library and you can modify that library according to your needs, as I just did. Okay, so the next thing is to make the number of slides correct on the large screens and similarly for the small screens. For that thing, what I would do here inside the utils folder, I would make a new file with the name of common.js. And inside the common.js, I am exporting the slider settings. And here the first setting is slides per view. Slides per view should be equal to 1. Space between the slides by default should be the 50 pixels, and then I'm specifying the breakpoint, which is the most important thing to look here. Okay, so breakpoint, what is this? Now I'm going to specify the width of different screens, and I would say on that type of screen show this number of slides, and then on the other type of screen show other number of slides. So first of all, I am targeting smaller screens like the 480 pixels. On the maximum width of 480 pixels, show the slides per view up to 1. Then the next thing, okay, we should have put a comma here, and then for the 600 pixels, make the slides per view as the 2. Similarly, for the 750, slides per view should be 3 on maximum 750. And then on the 1100 pixels, make the slides per view as 4. Let's save this. Now I am going to import this in the residencies.jsx. Again, on the very top here, I would write slider settings, and it is giving me auto suggestion, so I am accepting this. And yeah, here the path is correct, so I hope that it would work perfectly. Okay, now in the swiper, I am saying just destructure our slider settings. So all of these things that we have specified in the slider settings would be destructured as the props in the parent component. Let's save this and see the results. Okay, we should refresh the page, and yeah, here we are having the 4 number of slides in the center of our screen. But there is a problem because we are allowing the overflow, therefore we are able to see the slides that should not be in the view, like this one. And now this is the most left side and the most right side slide should not be in the view. So for fixing this problem, what I would do here on the very top, I would say our container, that is our most parent div, and for that one make the overflow as hidden. Let's save this and now see. Yeah, now it's looking perfect. The next thing is to make the buttons like we have in a developed version. We have 2 buttons, so let's see how we can make them. For making these buttons, here in the most parent component, before rendering our slides, Here I am making a component as slider buttons. Okay, now I am going to make this component because we have to define it. So as slider buttons, making it as a JSX component, and yeah, the JSX component should return something. So here it is returning div with the class name of residencies buttons, and here just say it as R buttons. Now what this component is going to do, here it is going to use the use swiper hook which comes with the swiper.js. As you remember, on the very top we have imported the use swiper hook, so now we are going to use this. Here I am writing the cause swiper as the use swiper hook. Now inside the R buttons, instead of rendering this dummy text, here I am making two buttons. So buttons multiply by 2. In the first button, I am going to use the symbol of less than, and similarly for the second button, I am going to use the symbol of let's format the code by pressing Shift Alt F. Now save this and see the results. Here are the results, and here I am having the two buttons, but these buttons are not actually working because we have not written the logic yet. So for writing the logic, it's very simple. For the less than, I am saying on click it has to execute a function, and this function writes swiper dot slide to previous slide, and similarly I am copying this logic and pasting it here like this, and now instead of slide prev, I am saying as slide next, and there is an error. Let me see. Okay, I have to enclose it like this. Let's save and see. Now if I click on the next button, our slides are actually moving, and similarly for the previous button. Let's style these buttons now. Okay, so for the styling, I am again opening my residencies.css. Here I am targeting the R buttons, and yeah, let me know. Okay, there should be R buttons. Let's save this. Inside the R button, first of all, I am going to make it as position absolute. As I am making it position absolute, so its parent div should be position relative. As we know, the parent div of our slider buttons is this R container, this one. So let's go to the R container, and here I am making the position relative. Let's save this. Let's get back to our R buttons now, and for this one I am making the gap of 1 rem. As I am giving the gap of 1 rem, so I should make these buttons as the display flex. So for making the display flex, here I am saying flex center. Okay, the next thing we have to do is specify its position. So I am saying from the top it should be -4 rem. Let's save and see the results in browser. Okay, so here are our two buttons, but they are on the very left side. But on contrary to that, we have to make them on the right side. Let's save this. Yeah, now they are at least in their proper position, but not styled. For making them fancy, again I am targeting the R button. Inside the R buttons, I am having some buttons. So for them, make the font size as 1.2 rem with the padding of 0.2 rem and the 0.8 rem. Now the color should be blue. Yeah, like this one. Then the border should be none, and I am also giving a border radius of 5 pixels. With the background color of these buttons should be white. The cursor is pointer. It's very basic styling that we mostly do for any kind of buttons. Let's save this and see here. Here I am having these two buttons, but because of no shadow and no background color, we are not seeing them as we want, as we have in a developed version. I would target the first button inside our R buttons, and for the first button I'm changing its background color. So what I am giving as a background color, here you can copy and paste this code like this one, and then I am targeting the second button. So nth child 2, and for that one I am specifying a box shadow. You can copy and paste this value again. I am doing it directly to save the time. Okay, let's save this and see in our browser what happened. Yeah, now these buttons are in the most correct form. So our slider component is completed now. The next component that we have to make if I look at the developed version, is this our value component, where we have a type of accordion section, which is very satisfying to see because it's not changing its length. When we open a section, then the other section becomes closed by itself. So let's see how we can make such type of functionality. Let's again go to our components section. Inside the components, I am making a new folder with the name of value, and inside the value again making the two files. First for the JSX value.jsx, and the second one for the CSS, like this one. Open them side by side like this. Here writing RAFCE. Let's save it, and now I am importing this component inside the app.jsx. So after the residencies, I am having the value component accepting this auto suggestion. Let's save this and see the results. Here our development version, and this is saying value here, so it is imported correctly. Now let's start making this component. So before starting the code of this component, first I am writing all the import statements. Okay, so here we are using a React library with the name of React Accessible Accordion. So I am going to import all components from there. So first thing is to import the accordion component, then the accordion item. The third one is accordion item heading, like this. The third one is the accordion item button, and then the accordion item panel, and the last one is the accordion item state. Okay, so we have to import all of these things from the React Accessible Accordion. Here it is giving me an auto suggestion, and then we have to import the CSS, which comes pre-built with this library. So you can import this by writing this line of code. Now I am going to import an icon from our React Icons MD, and the icon name is MD outline arrow dropdown and MD directory. Okay, and then the last thing I have to import is its CSS of our value.css. Okay, so let's save this. And now if I look at the utils folder, here inside the utils I have the accordion.jsx that comes with the starter pack. So what is this accordion.jsx? It is nothing but, as we have the slider.json, we have all the raw data for making the slider. Similarly, we have all the raw data. So here I am having an array of objects. So in each object I am having an icon that I have imported from the React Icons, then the heading, and the third one is the detail. Let's try to map this on our developed version. If I look at the developed version, here I have the icon that is specified here, then the heading which is specified here, and then the detail that comes when we expand the accordion section, that is written here. So we will iterate through this array of data, and we will try to make our value.jsx component there. But here I am seeing that we are having an error. So let's see what's the error here. It is saying syntax error. Okay, I think, yeah, here I have made a typo. I have not written the spelling correctly, so it should be accordion item heading. Let's save this and see here, try to refresh, and yeah, now it's working perfectly. Let's remove this pre-built div, and here making a section with the class name of vWrapper, means the value wrapper. Inside this again I am making a div with the class name of paddings and giving it an inner width, and also I am making it as display flex with the line item center and justify content center, and making it as vContainer. Now inside this, if we look at the developed version, here we can categorize the two sections. The first one is the left one and then the right one. So we can code them differently. So here I am making a comment for the left side first, and for the first side let's say it as vLeft. Now inside the vLeft, here I am making an image container that we built in the hero section. So I am going to use that class again. Inside this, here I am specifying an image for its value. I am saying value.png that lies in the public directory. Yeah, here we have this image. Okay, So let's save this and see the results. What we have here in the development version, we are having this image. So now we can start coding of the right section. So here I am saying the right side. For the right side, I am making a display with the column direction. So the display flex with the column direction and the start. Then I am giving it a class name of VRight. In this, I'm going to make the 3 spans. So span multiply by 3. Why I am making the 3 spans here? Let's have a look at developed version. The first span is this one, then the second one, and then this one is the third one. Now you have idea why we are making the 3 spans. So in the first span, I am writing our value. Then in the second span, I am writing value we give to you. Let's format the code. And in the third span, I am just copy and pasting some text. So you can also do this. Let's format it again. Here I have made a line break between these two lines in these spans. Okay. Let's save this, and for the first span, I am giving a class name of orange text again. Then for the second span, I am giving a class name of primary text, and similarly for the third span, I am giving a class name of secondary text. Let's save this and see the results. In the developed version, we are having these spans here. I think that's a time to write some CSS for this section. So for writing some CSS, here in the value.css, I am targeting the v container, and I am saying inside the v container, I have an image container. For that specific image container, make the border as 8 pixels solid and this RGB value. Then I am saying inside the v container, I have divs. So what are these divs? These two divs are the left side, this one, and the right side, this one. So I'm targeting these two divs and saying for both of them, make the width equal. Means now we can also say as width 50%, and as we are using flexbox, so we can also say it as flex1. So both would have the equal width. Now for the VRight section specifically, I am making the gap of 0.5 rem between all of its elements. Let's save this, and yeah, now this is looking in a very correct format with the correct CSS. It's time to make our accordion section. So for the accordion section, again in the right side, after this span, here I am making the accordion section. Let's make a text little bit smaller. And then I am making the most parent accordion, and for that accordion I have to specify some settings. Okay, so these settings are just the props that we can pass to this library. So the first prop is allow multiple expanded equal to false. So it would make sure that at a single time only a single section would be expanded. So then it is also accepting pre-expanded. So I am saying the 0th index section should be extended as a pre-extended. And now it's time to iterate through our data. By the way, before iterating, I would also want to give it a class name. So for the class name, we can say it as accordion. Okay. Then inside this, here I'm writing some pure JavaScript. So data.map, as we have included or not data. Yeah, still we have not included the data. So we can include this data by writing import data from go outside, then go outside inside the utils, and then inside the accordion. Let's see in the accordion. Yeah, let's save this, and then here while we are mapping, I am saying for each accordion item along with its index number, return some JSX. So while returning some JSX, the parent section should be accordion item, and I am giving it a class name. So why it's giving me an error on sync accordion item? Let's see, it is saying me JSX closing tag for accordion. Okay, so the problem was here I made a symbol by mistake. So yes, now I can make my accordion item. Let's close. And for each accordion item, write the class name. So the class name should be accordion item. I am giving very simple class name, so we should not be confused while writing the CSS. Okay, now inside this accordion item, first thing is to make the accordion item heading. Okay, format the code again and have a look at the developed version. What we have in the heading? Okay, it's again giving me an error. Let's save this again. Now the error is gone. Okay, let's see it on later. So on the heading we have three things. The first one is the icon, the second one is the heading, and the third one is this arrow icon. Let's make them one by one. So in the accordion item heading, I want all of these things should work as a button. Therefore, I am directly targeting accordion item button inside the accordion item heading. And for this one here, I am making a div with the class name of flex center and also giving a name of icon. So here we can write item dot icon like this, as we have inside the accordion.csx. Here you can see we have the icon, so I'm giving it here. And let's save this. Also this is necessary that we should give a key to the children, so I am giving key as index and UUID, which is necessary for this accordion section. So for this accordion section I am giving UUID as the index number. So why we need this ID? Because when we are specifying the pre-expanded indexes, then it is considering these IDs. After making the icon, here I am making span with the class name of primary text, and inside this span I am saying item dot heading like this. Now the last thing is again the icon, so again giving the flex center with the class name of icon. And now I am using our imported icon MD outline arrow drop down and giving it a size of 20 pixels like this. Let's save this and now see the results here. Okay, so here I have these headings, but the expanded detail is not included. So let's include the detail. After the heading, here we can make the accordion item and panel. Inside the panel, I am making a p tag with the class name of secondary text, and inside this I am making the item dot detail. Let's save this and see. Yeah, now I am having details also, and the functionality is done. The last thing is remaining is to make the styling for this section. Let's move to the CSS part now. So below this right section here, I would say for my accordion section, I would want margin top as 2 rem and the border none. The next thing I would want is the accordion item should have a background color of white, and the border is, I am just copy and pasting the border value. Okay, so just copy this, paste this, let's save this and see here. Yeah, so the border is applied and it is having background color or not, let me see here. Okay, this is the accordion item, this is the accordion item. If I give it a background color of red, let's see. Yeah, it is taking the changes, so it's working fine. Next thing I would want is to give a border radius of 8 pixels to make it according to our developed version, and the overflow as hidden. So yeah, I am making too much typos in this section, and the margin bottom of 20 pixels. Let's save this. Now our each section of accordion is having some distance because we have specified the margin bottom, and it is also having all the CSS that we have specified here, means it is having rounded borders, overflow hidden. Let's continue the styling. So on the next, I would want to style the accordion button. Let's confirm whether we have given the name or not. So yeah, we have not given this name, so here I can say as accordion button. Let's save this. Also I can do one thing here, I can make it as flex center. So now if I have a look at my section, yeah, everything is in a flex direction, but I can make it more correct by writing background color as white with the padding of 1 rem, width as 100%, justify content space between, and the cursor as pointer. Yeah, now the things are not centered, but they are justified between. So let's continue it. And now I am targeting the icons inside our button. I am giving them the padding of 10 pixels with the background colors. So again, I am copy and pasting a color code. You have to copy and paste it from the video, giving a border radius of 5 pixels. Let's save this and see our icons. Yes, our icons are having this border. And then I'm targeting the SVGs inside our icons. So SVG, make them fill with our variable color of blue. Let's save. And yeah, icons are having a very perfect color. After this, I am saying inside the accordion button, I am having a type of primary text. For that text, make the font size as 1.1 rem, because for now it's too much huge. And yes, it's looking perfect as we want. But if I look at the developed version, here you can see our expanded sections are having a beautiful box shadow, which is not present here, because we are not measuring whether a section is opened or it's in a collapsed state. So how can we specify this? For making this possible, again I am going to GSX, and okay, here I am having the buttons, here I am having the panel, and inside the accordion item button, before making the content for this one, here I am targeting accordion item state. Yeah, and this state component is just giving us the information that whether a section is opened or not. So here it is taking a parameter of expanded, and then it is returning some value. So I am saying expanded. If expanded, then set class name as expanded, otherwise set the class name as collapsed, or you can say non-expanded, anything you want. So I'm saying collapsed. Let's format the code, and we have to make a use state. For making the use state, on the very top I'm saying const class name set class name equal to use state. Let's import the use state from the React, make it as null. And in the accordion item, the most parent, instead of writing it in the double quotation marks, I am enclosing it inside the backticks and then inside the curly braces. Now while we are specifying the accordion item, we can also specifying the class name. So let's make it a class name. So now we can give the dynamic class names to our accordion item, and then if an item is expanded, then it would have the name of accordion item expanded, otherwise it would have the accordion item collapse. So we have to make the box shadow for the expanded state. Here I would go to accordion item, and after this one I'm saying accordion item, if it is expanded, then make the box shadow, and for the box shadow I'm using my variable of shadow, and then I'm giving a border radius of 6 pixels, not the 5 pixels but the 6 pixel. Let's save this and see. Yes, now the expanded sections are having a very beautiful box shadow around them. So our value section is also completed now. Let's see our next section in the developed version, which is this one, contact section. And it is very interesting because here we are having the hovering effect divs, and they are very satisfying to see. Let's see how can we make this section. Close all of these extra files here, and also I'm just closing all the files here. Now go to our directory inside the components, close inside the components, making a new folder, and for this one giving a name of contact, not the contact, and then inside this again make the two files. The first one contact.jsx and the second one contact.css. Okay, open them side by side, and in the JSX RFCE again, let's save this, import the CSS from the relative like this. I am doing all of these things very quickly because now we are used to making these things again. Okay, now let's go to our app.jsx. So you can go by like this, and after the value here I am writing contact component, auto importing it. Let's save, and in the browser in this version the component is imported. Now I am removing this and here writing section dot c wrapper, and inside this we have to make the container. Now make a div with the class name of paddings and inner width. Then we can also make it as flex center with the C container. Again, this component consists of a left and right side. If we have look here, we can see on the right side we are again having the image container. So let's make the right side first. I am just making the comments also. Left side, it would be like div dot c left, right the left, and similarly the right side here I am writing c right. Okay, inside the right div, making a div for our image, reusing the image container, here writing the image, and for this one we have the image with the name of contact jpeg. See the results here. In this version, yes, we are having our image rightly imported. We can start building the left side. Okay, so in the left side we have to make the 4 divs. Like we have in the deployed version, we have 4 divs. And how we are going to design these divs, I would make the 2 rows. In each row there would be 2 divs. So the upper 2 divs would be in the first row and the lower 2 divs would be in the lower means in the second row. By the way, before making these divs, let's make the head of this left section. So in the head I have the 3 spans. For the first span, and then in the second span, easy to contact us. Now in the third span I am formatting the code and simply pasting this text here. Gives class names to each of the spans. So the first span should be the orange text. Now the second span, for the second span it is the primary text, and the third span is the secondary text. Save this, and here we are having these spans. Okay, I can also make the left section as the flex call start. So they would be in the column direction. Yes, now they are in the column direction. Okay, let's start the styling. For the C container, I am saying the justify content space between, and again as we did in the value section, I am again doing the same approach, making each div as the flex 1, means the direct child of container. And for the right side I am giving it the width as the 100%. Save. Okay, they are aligned. Let's make the left side with some gap. So for giving some gap here we can write gap of 0.5 rem and everything should be fine. Okay, now we can start building those 4 blocks of contacts. So for building them after this span, okay, so here I am making some space like this. Make the flex call start, because as I said there would be 2 rows and 2 rows would be in the column direction. And here I am giving this div, it's the most parent div, so I am saying it as contact modes, and write the comment of first row. Okay, so for the first row again making it as the flex call start. Actually both the rows would have the same styling, but for the simplicity I am just targeting the first row. And now inside this first row make our first contact mode. So for the contact mode I am making flex call center with the class name of mode. Then make an other div with the class name of start, and in this div flex center icon. As we have already used the icon class previously in our value section, so I am just reusing that. And here I am going to use MD size with the 25. Okay, the full name is md call. By the way, let's import all the icons that are required for this section at once on the top of our file. Here I am importing md call from the React icons md directory, and then I am importing bs fill chat dots fill from the React icons, and the directory is bs. The last one is hi chat bubble bottom center, hi chat bubble bottom center from the React icons hi directory. Okay, and here close this icon div, make a div for the detail of the contact mode, and I am giving it as flex call start with the class name of detail. Inside this we would have the two spans. The first span will give the name of the mode, and second one is what's the number for using that mode. So, and here our detail div ends. Okay, and okay, so this one is our complete section. And by the way, this is the most parent, and it's the ending section for this div. Before the end, here I am making a button with the class name of flex center, giving it as button, and here I am saying as call now. Save this. Okay, there are some issues. Let's see the console. It's saying okay, there is an issue while importing the icon. Let's see what's the issue. I must made some typos. Let's try again. Okay, the issue is the directory of this icon is hi2, not the simple hi. Now the error should be gone. Yes, and this is our first mode. Do some CSS now. So after this C left, here I am saying the contact mode is the most parent, making at the margin top of 2 rem with the gap of 1 rem between the rows, and then inside the contact modes I have rows. For each row make the gap of 1.5 rem between its element. Now for each mode make the width as 16 rem with the padding of 1 rem. I am giving some border here, so you can also write this value, and then the border radius of 5 pixels, gap of 1 rem between its both left and right element, and a transition of all 300 ms ease in, as we have to make the hover effects. Therefore I am specifying transition all 300 ms ease in. The button is not looking perfect because in the deployed version button is something like this on a non-hover state. So here in the mode I would say I have some buttons. For those one, make the width as 100% of the parent with the background color of our variable, which is light blue, and then a color of our variable blue for the fonts. The font size should be 0.9 rem with the font weight of 600. Okay, yeah, now it's having the perfect width. And the styles, I am also seeing the text inside our mode is in the center, which should not be the case. So let's try to fix this by targeting the first child, making the width as 100% and a gap of 1.6 rem. And yeah, now it's perfect. Try to change the primary text inside our detail. So I am saying target the detail, and then the primary text, make the font size as 1.1 rem with the font weight of 600. And if okay, this is the deployed version. I think it's not applied yet. And why it's not applied? Because in this pen I have not given it the class name of primary text. Now if I see, yes, it's applied. And similarly I have to do for the second detail. Here I am giving the class name of secondary text. Let's make the hover states for our modes. So here I am saying on hovering the mode, make it scale 1.1% with the box shadow of our variable shadow. Now I have a button inside the mode, and on hovering that button, make the background color for that one as the variable of our blue gradient, and the color of text should be white with the scale, so it should be scaled down in its size. It should be 0.8% of its original size on hovering. And as we have already defined the transition of 300 ms ease in, so it would provide us a smooth effect. Let's try it in the browser. Yes, perfectly as we require. For making the second mode here, I'm going to do a very simple thing. Okay, so this is our mode. Make it minimize by clicking this arrow in the VS Code. Copy this complete div of mode. Make a space here, and you can make a comment that it's a second mode if you are so much confused, and then paste that div. Now change the text here. Instead of call, this should be chat. I'm keeping the number same, and instead of saying call now, I am saying chat now. And there, instead of md call, here I can say bsfill chat.fill. Okay, save this and see our second mode should be there. Yes, this is there. And okay, why for now it's like this? Because still we are not having our second row. Let's minimize this one, and this is our complete row. If I minimize our complete row and copy this, make a space, write a comment as second row, paste this here, change the details inside our second row. Okay, so this is the row, and this is the md call icon. Instead of md call icon, now we have this icon here. Instead of saying simply call, here we are saying video call. Then video call now. This should be the fourth mode. For the fourth mode, we are having this icon, and this is not the chat, this is message. And instead of saying chat now, say the message now. Hope for the best results in the browser, but unfortunately that are not the best result. Let's see what we have messed up. The first problem that I identified, if I make it simple, flex start instead of saying the column direction, because row should be in the row direction. I made this mistake. Yep, these are in now correct shape. Similarly, if I can do for the first row, but if I expand it, it would take the same shape. And yes, our four modes are in the perfect shape. Let's move on to our next section, which is making this blue div a kind of very popular and very common div in the modern websites. And after that, we would be towards our last footer section. So I'm closing, not the closing, but just making a new component inside the components, making a new folder with the name of get started. Inside get started, making two files, JSX and CSS, and then in the JSX simply write this, import its CSS, and finally import this component inside the app.jsx after the contact section. So get started like this. Okay, Instead of making this simple div, write a section, and for this one I am saying G wrapper. I hope we have not made this before. Then make a container, and for the container we have to make the paddings with some inner width. Finally its name G container. Okay, now I'm making a div with the flex call center and giving it a name of inner container. Why I am saying it is an inner container? Because this is the container which is going to have the blue color. We can't give the blue color to the G container because of the paddings and the inner width. Actually inner width is not our problem, but the padding is problem. If we give the blue color to G container, then it is going to have some white spaces around its corner. Okay, let's make the 3 spans. For the first span, get started with home is. For the second span, I am writing some text. Here I am pasting this. Again, format the code. And I think we don't need the third span. Here I am giving it a class name of primary text, and for the second one the secondary text. Save this in the browser. This is our get started section. Try to style this in our CSS. Here I am writing the inner container, make the gap of 1.5 rem. Background color, I am writing a color code. You can copy and paste from here. Then giving a padding of 2 rem, border radius of 10 pixels with the border of 6 pixels solid. Again I am writing a color code. You have to copy and paste from the video. At the last, make the text align as center. Save. Yes, but our primary text should have the white color, and same case for this section. Here I am saying inside the inner container I have primary text. For that, make the color as white and the font weight of 600. Then similarly inside the inner container I have the secondary text, and for that one make the color like this. Yes, both of the styling are perfectly aligned. The final thing in this section is to make this button. Let's try to make this button. For making the button, after this span, here I am making a button with the class name of button. Let's make an H tag, sorry, the A tag here, and for this make mail to, I am writing my Gmail here. By the way, when you specify this mail to, this is a kind of specifier for the href attribute. If you specify mail to, then it would open your Gmail or your Microsoft mail for contacting this address. Here I can write it as get started, save this, and this is the button. This button is not looking good when there is a blue color behind it. We can always modify this. So try to modify in our CSS. After the inner container, I am writing button. For that one, make the background with some color code. I forgot to import these color codes in the starter pack, but you can follow from that tutorial. I have completed the styling for this button and it's looking good. Let's move to our last section, which is the footer of this website. So just repeat the steps for the footer section. make two files inside the footer. Import this into the app.jsx after get started. Remove this div and making a section. F wrapper here, making the paddings inner width and flex center with the F container. Okay, inside this I am again distributing it between the left and right side. For the left side, making this as flex call start with the F left. Have a look at the deployed version. You can see in the left side we have the logo and this secondary text, and these things are in the column direction, therefore I have specified as the flex call start. And the first thing is the logo. So for the logo I am saying logo 2.png and giving it the width of 120 pixels. The second thing is a span with the class name of secondary text. Writing some text here, format the code, save and see in the browser. Yes, this is our left section. And after completing the left side, now I'm going to the right side. So F right. By the way, I can also make the right side as the flex call start. In the right side, I am having the two spans first. Why I'm having these two spans? You can see in the deployed version, this one is the span and this is the second span. Let's complete these things. So information with the class name of primary text. Then in the second span, writing some dummy address like. And after these two spans, I am having a menu of our footer. So for that menu, flex center with the class name of F menu. I forgot to make it as a secondary text. Let's make it also, and where I made a typo. Okay, so for making this menu, just make 4 spans, format the code, and inside these spans write the headings for all of the menu items like this. Okay, format the code and see in the browser what happened. Okay, our left and right sides are developed. There is some issue with the spacing and some alignments. For handling those issues in the CSS, you can target. For handling those issues in the CSS, you can target the F container and make justify content space between, and then for the left side make the gap between the items as 1 rem, and yes, they are justified. And now I can target the right side. In the right side I have the menu. For that menu, make gap of 0.5 rem, 1.5 rem, margin top of 1.5 rem with the font weight of 500. Yes, so our footer is also completed. If we look the bigger picture, then you can observe the static version of our website is now completed. Let's start the part of the tutorial where we have to make our website responsive for the mobile screens and for the tablets, and similarly the desktop version is already built. So for starting the responsive design, let's right click and click here on the inspect button. Here you can click on this toggle device, and now your browser can give you a view where you can expand and collapse your screen to see it on the screens of multiple devices. Like I can select iPhone 12 Pro, and on the 12 Pro the website is looking like this, means on the phone, and which is not very good because still we have not made it responsive. So I'm keeping it as the responsive and collapsing it. Okay, let's have a look on the deployed version. Now if I inspect this version and let's refresh. So this website is having a proper responsive view. We have to convert our website in such kind of view. So let's start by the header. As we can see that in the header, instead of seeing the complete menu, now we are seeing a menu icon. On clicking this, the menu appears from the right side, and clicking outside of this menu, it goes away. So let's start by making the static standard menu for the mobile screens. I am not going to implement the logic for now. First, we just try to make this type of menu. We have to convert this menu in that version, and then we will see how we can apply logic for moving it outside and then inside the screen, and then how can we click outside of the menu to make it go away again. So in the VS Code, here I have my header.jsx open, and this is the header.css. As we saw, we have to make a menu icon. So at the very end, just above the section here, I am making a div with the class name of menu icon, and for this I am just pasting a React icon with the name of bi menu alt right with the size of 30 pixels. Let's make it a self-closing component, and on the very top I am going to import this. Let's save this and see if it's imported or not. And yes, it is imported here. Okay, now inside the CSS I am saying generally it should not be in the view. So here I would say for the menu icon, make the display none, so it will not be visible on the standard desktop screens. But now I have to specify the screen sizes of small devices. So I am saying on the media screens with the max width of 768 pixels, make this menu icon as. Save this and now see what happened in the browser. Okay, the menu icon is not visible, but here I made extra braces. Let's remove this, save our CSS and see in the browser if it's working or not. Okay, on the small devices here you can see our width is smaller than 768 pixels. It's currently 494 pixels, so our menu icon is visible. But if I expand this view and go above the 768 pixels, then it becomes as display none. Okay, this is working. Now we will try to convert this menu in the mobile version. For doing that, here I am targeting our H menu, and first of all I am making the color of text inside this with our variable black, and then making its position absolute. And as I am making position absolute, so I have to give it a reference from our H container. Here is the H container, but not the H container because still I am not specifying the position relative for the H container, so it would go towards app.css. Yes, the parent container for the H menu is the position relative, and then it is position absolute with respect to the app. With respect to the app, I am saying its top distance should be 3 rem, and from the right side it should be 4 rem. Now next thing I would say, the background color on the small screens should be white for this menu, and then the flex direction should be column. Let's see in the browser. Yes, we are getting our menu, and then I have to specify some paddings and some general styling. So I would give the font weight of 500 with the gap of 2 rem and the padding of 3 rem. Let's save and see here. Okay, one thing I can also do, I am making all the other components inside the app.jsx as a comment. So I am commenting out all these components by pressing Ctrl and backslash like this. I would also comment the hero section. Let's save this and see in the browser. Yes, only header is visible. More. So here I would say the border radius would be 10 pixels, and align items flex start with the box shadow. So for the back box shadow here I am pasting some value. You can just copy it from the video, save this. Yes, it's almost getting the shape. Okay, if I paste the same width in the deployed version and then the same height 850, yeah, they are pretty much same. So the static version of our menu is complete, but I am noticing the position of our icon is not correct. So what I would do in my VS Code, I would go to the header.jsx and I am moving my menu icon inside this div, means inside the h wrapper. Not the h wrapper but the h container, sorry, my bad, because h wrapper is our section and then is the h container. So I am wrapping my menu icon inside the h container. Let's format the code, and yes, now our icon is in the correct position. Let's try to apply the logic behind the movement of our menu. For making this, on the very top here just above the return statement, I am making a use state. For the use state I am giving name of menu opened and it is handled by set menu open. Yeah, so as it is a use state, so I am importing it from the React. As you can see on the top, it's auto imported and by default it is having the value of false. Now here I am saying on clicking this icon it would execute a function, and function is very simple. From the use state set menu open, take the previous value from the state and set the negation of our previous value. If you have the complete view, so I am executing a function of set menu open, taking the previous use state value as the argument and setting the new state as the negation of our previous state. Means if it's false then it will be converted into true, and if it is true then it would be converted into false. Okay, now how we can use this use state for rendering the h menu? So in the h menu here I am making some styling on the basis of a function with the name of get menu styles, and I would pass the menu open as the prop. So we have to define this function get menu styles. Again on the top here I am defining this function with the name of get menu styles, which is taking the argument of menu open, and then it's a React factor function. So first it would check if we are actually at the smaller screens. So here I am making the condition if document element client width, so it would be client width like this, is smaller than 800, means if it is up to the 768 pixels, then return this styling. The right distance, means the position from the right side of the screen, would be minus, you can say at minus 100%, but there is a condition of doing the minus 100% if and only if menu is not opened. So again let me explain. First I am saying if the width is smaller or equal to 800, which is pretty much similar to this condition we have in the CSS. So I am checking if we are actually at the smallest screens, and if we are, then we are checking if the menu is not opened, then push our menu to the minus 100%, means the out of view. Let's save this and see how much it works. Okay, so if I click here our menu is appearing, and if I click again on this icon it is disappearing, but I am not able to see the movement of menu like in the developed version. When I click it is actually moving out of view and then coming into view with a kind of sliding animation, which is not available here. So for making this, here in the H menu I would say make all type of transitions as the all 300 ms ease in. Okay, so ease in, let's save this. Now if I click it is actually coming up and going back, but still there is a problem. If I click outside of this menu it is not going outside, which is the default behavior for the mobile screens. For doing this I am importing a very useful package actually. So here write import. So it is giving me an auto suggestion because I have installed this package. So you have to import the outside click handler from the React outside click handler. Now we have to wrap our component inside this click handler. So I am going to my H menu, and before this H menu, here I would say outside React handler and move its closing tag up to the closing of H menu. So this is our H menu. So now if I format the code, it's giving a perfect view. But this component accepts a prop, that what it should do if you are clicking outside of its context, means if you are clicking outside of its H menu, then the prop is on outside click execute a function, and I am saying set menu open as false. Pretty straightforward. Let's see in our browser. I click, menu comes, and I click outside of this, menu goes outside of the view. Very clean logic, very cleanly we have implemented this. Now let's try to make the hero section responsive as we have in the developed version. So I am going to hero.jsx. So inside the hero folder, this is the hero.jsx, and opening the CSS side by side. Most of our work is in the CSS, hardly we have touched the JSX. Let's see. So I'm targeting the small screen, so on the media, and I'm targeting the maximum width of 640 pixels this time. Okay, now have a look at the deployed version. If we look at the deployed version, there is some additional space on the top. So for making this additional space, I am saying hero container should have the margin top of 2 rem. By the way, I forget inside the app.jsx we have to make this uncomment. Let's save this. Again move to hero.jsx. So I have given some additional margin on the top side to this hero container. Okay, let's save and see. Yes, there is additional margin. Now the writing is so much big for the mobile screens. So now I am targeting the hero title here, hero title, and inside hero title we have h1 heading. For that one, make the font size of 2.5 rem with the line height of 3 rem. And yes, they are looking good according to the deployed version. Then if I look at the image container, it's not looking aligned in the mobile screens. So for making it aligned in the mobile screens, here I am targeting the image container, specifically image container, make the width as 95% with the height of 25 rem on the mobile screens. Let's save, and yes, now it is aligned within the mobile screens as it is in the deployed version. The next thing is to make these stats fix. So for making these stats, I am targeting stats, making justify content center with the gap of 1.5 rem, and let's save this and see. Yep, they are working correctly now. If I visit to the iPhone XR, it's looking good here, it's looking on X12 Pro, but I am seeing that our image container is not in the center of screen. So for fixing this, again move to our CSS, and here I would target the right side of hero section, here right side, and I'm making the width as 100%. So now if I visit, okay, there is something problem. I have to refresh the website. Okay, still it's not in the very center. Let's see. Okay, it's not the H right, it's the hero right. So that was my bad. Here I have to like this. Now see, yep, it's perfectly in the center. It's time to fix the font weight and the font sizes, not the font weight but the font sizes for these stats, as in the deployed version they are relatively small and giving a good look for the mobile screens. Okay, for doing this, here I am saying stat make the nth child, the first child means which is the number, make the font size as 1.5 rem, and similarly inside the stat I have the second child which is the name of stat. So for that one I am making the font size of 0.8 rem, And yep, this is our version, looking perfect for the mobile screens. Let's try to see it on a relatively large devices like the tablets. So if I expand it, okay, this is the standard tablet size and it's not looking good here. Let's see what we can do in our CSS. So yes, I am just guessing if in the hero container, instead of space between, I make it space around. And now see, yes, it's looking perfectly fine for the big screens, for normal laptop screens, for the tablet screens, and then for the mobile screens. Okay, on the mobile screens, when the menu is incoming, there is something wrong with the z indexes. So let's fix these z indexes on the hero CSS. Here I am giving it a z index of 1, and on the header CSS I am giving it a z index of 99. It should fix our problem. Try to refresh. Okay, there is still a problem within this title div specifically. So inside the hero.css, this is the z index of 1. Then what can be the problem here? If in the orange circle, for me everything is looking fine, but still we are having this issue. Let's try to inspect and try to debug it together. Okay, so our hero menu here, H menu, if I try to give the z index 99 here, yes, it has fixed our problem. So what we can do inside our inside our header.css, when we are writing code for 768 pixel screens, first make the z index as 99, and it is fixing our problem. We just have to do this. Let's try to move on the next section, and the next section, okay, go to the standard mobile screen, then yeah, this one. So next screen is these logos, and this is the most easiest part of the tutorial. So I'm just uncommenting and see the results. This is the companies section. I have to uncomment all and then make comments one by one like this. Let's see, and this is our companies section, looking very perfect in the mobile screens, and on the tablets it's also looking good, and Javoino on the desktop is perfect. So we have nothing to do with the company logos. We can securely move to the next section, and the next section is I should make the width same so we can make a fair comparison between both the screens. So this is the deployed one. Okay, our next is this carousel section. Try to make it responsive on the mobile screens. So here I am making this as a component and see what is happening here. So it is already looking very good because we have made the dynamic slides per view in the settings as the prop for this carousel. But the only thing we have to fix is this heading should be the center of the screen, and similarly these buttons should also be the center of screen. So in the right side I am opening the CSS of the residencies, and at the very bottom here I am targeting the media screen with the maximum width of 640 pixels. I am targeting this width, and I am saying the R head, which is the heading, and make the line item center. Then I am targeting the R buttons, and I am saying on the mobile screens make the position as not the inherit but the initial screen. Let's save and see the results. Yes, it's looking good. Okay, the next screen is this value screen. So try to uncomment this in our app.jsx here and see the results. Okay, there is there is something more to fix than I expect. So I am opening value.css here, and at the very bottom of this file here I am targeting the media screens from the width of I believe 1024 pixel, 1024 pixel, and I'm saying the value container should have the flex direction of column from this width. Let's see in the browser. Yes, at least they are aligned, but there is something wrong with the heading of this accordion. If I look at the developed version, the accordion is looking perfectly fine, while here it's not looking good because of the font size. So I am targeting the maximum screen size of maximum width 768 pixels. I would say the accordion buttons and the primary text should have the font size of 0.8 rem from the 768 pixels. And yes, now it is looking cool actually. Okay, the next section is this contact us section, and I am expecting that we have used a lot of flex boxes in this section, so we should not be fixing a lot of things here, but try it first. Okay, so this is our contacts us section. We have to fix the rows on the mobile screens. On the tablet, I believe it's looking good, but on the mobile screens, it is overflowing. Okay, let's fix this. So here, open the contact.css, and at the very bottom, I am saying the media screen with the max width of 1024 pixels. Again, I am targeting C container, the most pending, making the flex direction of column from right there. The right side should be justify content center, because in the right side we are having the image container. So see here. Okay, because the width of the upper section is too much, therefore image container is making its content center with relative to the upper content. But when we fix that side, means the left side, then it should not be the case. And each row should have the flex direction of column, then the width of 100%. The last thing I would say, the mode. So each mode again have the width of 100%. Let's see. And yes, our work is done with this contact section. Now again in the app.jsx, I am uncommenting this. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's looking fine. As in the developed version, we are having the same results. We can fairly move towards our footer now. So I am uncommenting our last component, which is the footer, and footer is also looking good. We just have to make its content in the center for the mobile screens. So go to the footer, and here I am saying at the rate media screens with the maximum width of 768 pixels, make the F container with the justify content center. Then in the F container, each div must have the align item center. I am making it important, so it should override the pre-built CSS rules and then the text align center. Let's save and see. Yes, it's looking fine on the tablet screens, on the large width. So yes, so our responsive version is also completed now. The last thing we have to do is to add the animations. As we look if we have a look at the deployed version. Okay, so I am disabling this view and refreshing this deployed version. Here you can see there is a very smooth animation on the start of website. Let's see how we can make this animation. For making this animation, I am visiting the hero.jsx, and only our hero.jsx is having the animation. So on the very top here, I am importing motion from Framer Motion. It is a very famous library for making the animations, and I have used it in many of my projects, and it's very stable, and the type of animation is actually very cool that comes with this package. So motion.h1 I have converted the h1 as the motion.h1. It's the standard way for working with this library. Anything you want to convert in an animatable div or h1 or span, you just have to write motion dot. So initially I am saying on the y-axis my h1 heading should be displaced around 2 rem, and initially the opacity should be 0. Now it should be animated, so it should be animated on the y-axis. The displaced value should be null and opacity becomes 1, means the default setting of our heading. Now I can specify the transition type. So in the transition type, I am saying the duration of this animation is 2 seconds with the type of, I like spring most, but here you can also use the ease in. So save this and see the results. Let's refresh, and here you can see our h1 heading is animating. Similarly, I can apply this towards my image container. So for the image container, go back to the studio, and I am making this as motion.div. Here initially give some props. On the x-axis it should be displaced around 7 rem with the opacity of 0. Then copy and paste. Here I am saying instead of initial it should be animated towards the 0 pixels, means the default position, and the opacity 1. Now again I have to specify the transition here. So you can also make a constant object if you want to use the same transition all over your components. So here I am again saying duration 2 seconds with the type of spring. Let's save this, try to refresh here, and yes, it's looking perfect. And the developed version, it's a little bit slow because I have used ease in animation here, but I like spring most. So you can apply any one you want. Now let's get toward the last section of our tutorial, which is the deployment. How we can deploy this fully functional website, not in terms of backend, as I discussed in the start of tutorial. If this video gets enough number of likes or comments or requests in comments, then I would make a full stack tutorial of this website. But for now, let's focus on the front end. So let's see how we can deploy this front end project to the internet. For deployment, I am using the Cloudflare pages here. Cloudflare pages. Go to this first link. You can make a new account if you don't have, otherwise you can simply do a login as I am doing. So such dashboard would appear in front of you when you do a login or sign up. You have to visit this section, pages. So in the pages we are going to deploy our own page. So here I can do a create a project, and I'm going to use the direct upload option. So for doing the direct upload, go to your VS Code. Open your terminal by pressing Ctrl J. You can stop this server by pressing Ctrl C. Clear your terminal, and here write yarn run build. So it would make a production build of our application, and it took very little amount of time. In the 5 seconds our production build is ready. Where it lies, if I go to a directory, close the terminal, on the very top here you can see a folder with the name of dist. Actually this dist folder is our production build. So I am right clicking this, clicking on the reveal in file explorer, and here it comes. I am just dragging this, and in my Google Chrome, okay, I have to click on the direct upload. So click here, direct upload, give the name of our project. So I am giving the name of real estate web, and at the last I am including the YouTube. Click on the create project. Here you have to upload your dist folder now. So I am dragging this folder and here drop this. It is preparing itself to upload to server. It can take different time, depends on the size of your project. You just have to wait here. Okay, so all files were successfully uploaded. Now finally you can click on this button, deploy site. So as you click on this deploy site, it takes around 5 to 6 seconds and your page is ready. You just have to click on this link and your website is deployed to internet. You can see the animation, you can see all of your sections. I would also provide a deployed link in the description of this video so you can visit on your devices that how it's working on the mobiles, how it's working on the desktops. If I refresh now, then you would be able to see the animations more clearly because now it is in the cache of our browser. If this video has inspired you for making the new front-end projects, for using these animations, for using these responsive CSS, then hit a like, subscribe and share button. I hope this video gets the enough number of likes, so I should be encouraged to make a full stack version of this, but let's see. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial very much. You can also support me on the Patreon, and please subscribe the channel because I am observing that most of the viewers are not subscribing. So keep supporting, keep learning. I would see you in the next tutorial. Till then, goodbye.